Now, we already know that Mega Evolution is back in Pokemon Sun and Moon, that there is this official page on the website, and we also do see some videos about it, but that's pretty much all there is to it. Dexiocina show up, they say, hey, check out this Mega Evolution stuff from the Kalos region, and honestly, it feels a bit downplayed. No new Mega Evolutions, and it's not going to be usable in VGC 2017, so we just think, alright, that's it, like, you get Mega stuff, and then we're good to go. GG. Well, actually, Mega Evolution has received a significant change in Pokemon Sun and Moon, and it primarily means a huge buff. So we have some leak gameplay coming out of 4chan right now, and what it shows is Bayonet Mega Evolving and then using Prankster on the same turn. In the 6th generation, this isn't how it works. So what happens is you Mega Evolve, and the speed priority is set before that even happens. Now it seems like Mega Evolution happens before the turn is decided, so if a Pokemon gets a new ability, that will recalculate how the speed is going to go. That also means that a Pokemon's speed stat will be adjusted as well, and that seems like one of the biggest problems with Mega Evolution, so that's why we have this page right here, because when you think about it, there's a lot of Pokemon, Manectric, that are really slow, but then get a huge speed boost that they can't really utilize on that first turn, and Beedrill is probably one of the biggest ones, so we're going to go and talk through that. Now, I did find this really awesome page right here that it shows the actual stat calculations for a Pokemon, and since this is mostly just a speed tweak, we're going to see Pokemon that gain speed, like Alakazam. So Mega Alakazam goes from like 120 base speed to 150, and that means on the turn that it Mega Evolves, it is getting that higher speed. So now it actually doesn't have to worry about something like a Greninja if it is going for that Mega Evolution on that turn, and that means you get a chance to outspeed, Focus Blast, KO the Greninja. So it's showing that Mega Alakazam just getting a big buff right there against those faster Pokemon that would normally just destroy it. Or if there's already an established Pokemon, Gengar's already in as Mega, well, Alakazam can't deal with that. Now it can by getting that Mega Evolution edge back in its favor. Same with Gengar, that those niche outspeeds start to mean a lot less. We can come in, then find your outspeed, then make it happen. Kangaskhan now gets its plus 10 speed, so you're going to be speed tying with more fake out Pokemon potentially. Like you can see right here that the stats really start mattering. Mega Pinsir, well, Mega Pinsir goes to a 105 base speed, so now that means, hey, I outspeed most of the Pokemon in the game because 100 base speed is so common, so that means you don't have to worry about like quick attack aerial rate as much, that you can maybe just go straight into raw damage and then try to pick up some Pokemon just on the turn you Mega Evolve instead of worrying about the setup. Same for like Mega Mewtwo, Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl's already really fast, but it does get faster and you can make use of that with all of your weaknesses. Now there are some Pokemon that are nerfed, but I don't think it really matters. As we can see, there's slower, tankier Pokemon that end up losing stats as well. The Mega Ampharos, the Mega Heracross. Now, for the most part, if it's going to be gaining defenses or gaining like a crazy amount of stats to where it loses speed, it was already a tanky Pokemon that wasn't expecting outspeeds, so I see it as a bigger buff to Mega Evolutions overall than an actual nerf to some specific Mega Pokemon. Like Heracross, you either Scarf Moxie the close combat on this Pokemon, or you Mega Evolve and hope for the best. So that speed drop on that same turn doesn't really affect too much. Mega Houndoom does get a nice little bit of a speed boost, so it might actually find outspeeds that it wouldn't have before. Oh, the Blaziken. Now, it's kind of weird with some speed boost Pokemon. I think we're also going to talk about this with Sharpedo in a bit. But, like, yeah, we have the plus 20, but we're protecting anyways to get our speed boost. So now it's all going to apply effectively the same with a Blaziken and a Mega Blaziken. Gardevoir, though. Gardevoir has that lower base speed, so getting that plus 20 into the Pixelate means you're going to speed tie or find those outspeeds and then be able to beat up on not tanky Pokemon, because you're generally outspeeding those anyway, but just those mid-level sweepers that are kind of a little lacking on speed. Interestingly enough, we see a lot of those being introduced in the 7th generation. Silvally, for example, has a 95 in its speed stat. Well, now Mega Gardevoir, it goes from 80 to 100, I believe. Yeah, so those Pokemon that start hitting on those 100s, well, now it can outspeed more Pokemon just like that. I think the Silvally is an interesting one. I haven't looked super deep into all of the new Pokemon speed and stuff, but overall, it seems like there's not a lot of high, really fast sweeping Pokemon in the 7th generation, so that means these Mega Evolutions will be able to gain an edge on those Pokemon a little sooner with this change. Medicham going from 80 base speed to 100, so it'll actually be able to compete on those speed tiers. And here's what I'm talking about with Mega Manectric. Plus 30 on the speed. It really needs that to become like a mad sweeping Pokemon, and now it gets those just raw outspeeds against a lot of things. Hey, Greninja again. So Greninja actually getting nerfed by this pretty heavily because there's a lot of Pokemon that have a better chance of competing against Greninja. Now you just Mega Evolve, Thunderbolt, Greninja doesn't get a chance of Protean, still super effective, and then it just gets dropped immediately because of that. Mega Bayonet does grab that Prankster ability, and this is kind of showing that the speed doesn't really matter right here because the Prankster is being added on. So that means if you go for status, you're just going to get it on the turn you Mega Evolve. I think that is going to drastically increase the amount of Mega Bayonet that we see because that first turn you have to protect, which means you're only running 3 move slots on a Prankster Pokemon, which feels really weird, or you just take a lot of unnecessary damage as you try to go for that initial setup. But now, you know, as we see in this, he goes for Substitute. So that's your play right there. You could like Mega Evolve Prankster's sub and see if they're going for status or if they're going for some kind of setup. That could be really free for you right there. There's a lot of really awesome things that you can get out of this. Mega Bayonet, it can Thunder Wave, it can Swords Dance. It does a lot of really weird stuff and then can play a priority game. Now, interestingly enough, we do know that Sucker Punch has been nerfed from 80 base power down to 70, so that's going to hurt some priority Pokemon like Mega Absol. Mega Absol actually getting pretty nerfed by that. However, it is gaining that plus 40 speed on that first turn, so the play rough against other Dark-type Pokemon, it can be a good counter Dark-type Pokemon, especially with all that speed that comes into the Mega Absol. Next up, we have Garchomp. Garchomp actually has over 100 base speed, but it does get dropped on the Mega Garchomp. However, Mega Garchomp is bad to begin with. Like, they're just running Garchomp with an item or anything else. Garchomp gets more effective stats, more damage. Like, we see plus 40 on the attack and special attack on a Mega Garchomp. Well, Life Orb does more than that. Or you can Choice Scarf and then run Adamant, so you're still getting a lot of effective stats that way. The speed drop will actually affect you as a Mega Garchomp, which means now you're getting outsped by these other 100 base speed Pokemon, and you might get KO'd from there. So, Mega Garchomp getting nerfed when it was already really bad to begin with. Lucario, though, ooh, that's scary. Like, really one of the only chances you have to stop a Lucario is on that turn it Mega Evolves. Like, alright, I'm already faster, it Mega Evolves, you can just take it out right there. Now you're going to be immediately competing with that 112 base speed, but again, now Mega Evolutions, more Mega Pokemon are going to be able to outspeed and return the favor. So Mega Manectric, it can come in against the Lucario, Mega Evolve, hold on to that 130, hit the Flamethrower, and then Lucario goes down. So I wouldn't say it's like a balance. I'm just feeling that like the overall power level of Megas is certainly being increased right here, but it does kind of get counteracted by the other Megas that are gaining crazy power level. Mega Bomb Snow, not really a choice pick as is, but lowering on the speed. And now we're starting to get into the good stuff. So interestingly enough, we saw a lot of junk stats kind of being thrown around when it came to the 6th generation that are, okay, Mega Absol. I think it would like to have plus 30, plus 40 to the attack more than the plus 40 to the special attack. You know, there's always that one, even though if it's a special attacker or a physical attacker, it seems like points go into other places for the most part, or you get like extra defenses, just that way the Pokemon doesn't seem too overpowered, and it means we do have a lot of underwhelming ones. But then Mega Beedrill. Game Freak did like the most shenanigan thing ever with the Mega Beedrill, that effectively you gain 100 base stat total. Well, what you can also do is lower a stat and then pump it into the other one. So we're negative 30, but then we're plus 130 on good stats, which means plus 70 speed, plus 60 attack. However, Mega Beedrill is in a really bad spot. Like, it has the adaptability, it has the insane amount of damage, it can go and KO a lot of things, it gets great coverage, you go knock off, drill run, and then your whatever move of choice. I prefer the X-Scissor over the U-turn, but I mean, now you can run that X-Scissor, you just Mega Evolve, boom, plus 70 speed, already outspeeding everything, plus 60 attack, and you don't have to run the Protect, so extra coverage, extra safety. The Mega Beedrill actually going to get more usage pretty much in every way from this. So I think this is one of the bigger buffs that people are talking about right now with this change. Like, okay, I do think that the Alakazam will find some use out of it, some other Pokemon, but now it's like Beedrill. Yo, this thing was good to begin with in theory, and now it's actually going to be good in practice. Mega Pidgeot, anything that gains a speed will find some effectiveness. The Mega Sceptile, I think, is also going to be a pretty big buff right there, that now it goes into a really competitive speed tier, has that huge special attack, gets that dragon typing. So if a Pokemon was going to outspeed it and hit with an ice type, at least Mega Sceptile has a chance to return something beforehand. This is also going to be really good in doubles, because that Lightning Rod ability is going to be interesting, because sometimes you just run a faster Pokemon and then you Mega Evolve, get faster on the next turn, and then Lightning Rod. Now you have to have a super fast Electric type Pokemon to charge up with that discharge on the Lightning Rod. So maybe some double strategies will be nerfed, but also at the same time it's going to be buffed because you don't have to worry about keeping your Mega Sceptile as safe. Swampert into Mega Swampert, Swift Swim on that speed. I'm actually wondering, how's that go? Like, is that going to apply the Swift Swim as well? Because you're Mega Evolving, so now you get that Swift Swim instead of afterwards. So in Rain, Mega Swampert getting a big buff. But now we're going to look at the nerf side of things, because Mega Sableye actually getting a very very substantial nerf with all of this. I'm not just talking about the minus speed, but the thing is, it loses Prankster to go into the Magic Bounce. Currently in the 6th generation, Sableye does some really nasty things because you can first turn, not even Mega Evolve, just use that Prankster to set up. Second turn or whatever, now you can Mega Evolve while retaining Prankster. So it's like you have 2 abilities on the first turn. You're going to be able to outspeed your opponent with that priority status, and then you Mega Evolve, and now you're going to also be able to have that Magic Bounce if your opponent is trying to get tricky on you. So without this, now a lot of Sableye's plays are going to be restricted in a way, because pretty much what you want to do is you just want to first turn Will-O-Wisp or Calm Mind, then you Mega Evolve into the Recover, that way you can stay safe out of that. Or you can just get an extra Calm Mind, extra Will-O-Wisp. Now you're going to be super tanky, which means you'll survive to use the Recover, and that could be pretty good right there. I do see this working in some situations, because I know there are times where I went, man, I wish that I didn't have Prankster this turn. Like, I wish I Mega Evolved last turn so that way I could heal up back to full. So with this, if you play really well, or you get in, like, I think there's going to be certain circumstances where it turns out to be better, but it's going to be less often. So overall, the reliability of Mega Sableye goes down, even though it might find some, like, other exceptions where it would do pretty well. Because I do know, I have talked about it before, like, even on stream or even when I'm doing battles, like, oh man, I wish I could actually recover after taking this damage after the Mega Evolution. Because when you Mega Evolve, you're going to be taking substantially less. There's defense and special defense boost. That's going to be pretty solid right there. So in the situations where, say, like you Mega Evolve Recover at 60-70% health after taking that first hit, well, now you Mega Evolve, you get dropped down lower, and now you're going to be able to get all of that full recover out of it. Could work out. There's the Mega Sharpedo. Mega Sharpedo, it's one of those other interesting ones that Sharpedo, it wants to protect to get that speed boost, and since it loses speed boost, there's going to be a different level of play going on with it. After, like, Sharpedo's speed boost to Mega, it doesn't really matter anyways. It only gains its plus 10 speed, so I don't think it's going to change Sharpedo too much, unless you're going up against, like, another speed-boosted Pokemon in some kind of way. Camerupt, maybe a little bit of a nerf. Glalie actually getting a buff will have a better speed to make use of. I believe that Glalie goes from, like, all 80s, so that means as 120 attack, 120 special attack, 100 speed. Maybe the Refrigerate Explosion will do something, and then we're going to get to 2 scary Pokemon right now, because Mega Metagross plus 40 on that speed, it goes to a really good speed level after that Mega Evolution, so that's going to be some damage and just threat right there. I think it's going to be similar to the Mega Lucario, that, alright, you at least had a chance to do something to the Metagross, but now it's going to outspeed you, and then it's going to outspeed you, and then now you're going to have a really hard time dealing with that. But also, I think at the same time, Mega Metagross, really susceptible to status. Like, even with the Thunder Wave nerf, still going to get hurt by that pretty bad. Still going to get hurt by a Will-O-Wisp pretty bad. So this might actually bring it up to maybe slightly overtuned on this change, but it will be more useful. And I think that I would rather see more Mega Metagross than a lot of the other Megas that are, like, super spammed, potentially. Then we have the Aerodactyl Mega Salamence. So Mega Salamence, it just wants to Mega Evolve, Dragon Dance, and then do stuff. Now it can Mega Evolve and not Dragon Dance because it already has enough speed to outspeed you on the turn it Mega Evolves. Again, reducing the counterplay on this Pokemon because your turn on Salamence is, alright, if he's going for the setup, if he's going to try to knock you out off of raw damage, at least you have a chance to be faster than it. With this, less chance, faster snowballing. That's going to get pretty crazy with the Mega Salamence. Mega Latios, no speed change. Rayquaza is a bit scary because, yeah, it's going to be the same as the Salamence, that it gains its stats and then it keeps its item and then bad things happen. Lopunny's actually pretty good. Gaining that extra speed, going to be really interesting because mostly Lopunny just wants to, like, Mega Evolve into Fake Out, and then that's where it's going to make up for its speed. But this, it doesn't have to Mega Evolve. It can just Mega Evolve, High Jump Kick, Mega Evolve, Return, or whatever, and find silly amounts of damage to start with. I think it actually works better for Last Resort sets, because you can Mega Evolve, High Jump Kick, KO something, and now you can either Last Resort or High Jump Kick, depending on what you were dealing with. So if you bring in Mega Lopunny at the right time, it might be a better buff instead of having to, like, Fake Out Last Resort or be more reliant on the Fake Out than you need to be. Because now you're coming in and you're outspeeding, like, all but 16 Pokemon, and you're speed tying with some of those as well. So that could be pretty good. Mega Gallade, substantial buff. I don't think about Mega Gallade too often. So what was its speed stat to begin with, and what does it end up on? I think it goes from, like, 80 to 110 or something. So yeah, 80, 110. I mean, that's awesome right there, honestly. That now you're a 165, 110 sweeper, you have the close combat, you have sick amounts of damage, you have a lot to do. This will actually substantially increase Mega Glade's usage, and I think there's a lot of... I see people every once in a while they throw out that Mega Glade, and I just think, oh, they're trying so hard to make their favorite Pokemon work or something like that, because a lot of people run the Mega Glade, they're just a huge fan of it, more so than they think it's really strong. But now with this, it's legitimately really strong, so that could actually, I think that's going to make people very happy right there, because now you're just starting off with a 110 Pokemon, instead of being very weak to begin with. Like, you can get picked off with that defense and that special, well, not so much on the special defense, but even then, Fairy-type Pokemon are really threatening. A lot of Scarfs could find, like, some really niche stuff against you on those Mega Evolution turns. So, yeah, I'm thinking that actually works out really well for the Mega Glade. Doesn't change much on the Audino, but Deontay. So we talked about Beedrill being crazy. Well, Deontay, it loses 80 and then gains 180. So that's going to be speed right there. And Deontay was a slow Pokemon. It's more tanky, and then you can Mega Evolve into Sweep. Well, now you just start off with Sweep Magic Bounce. Nothing can respond to that, pretty much, and then you're just going to outspeed. So yeah, that was kind of like... And also, Deontay's getting a massive buff as well, because Diamond Storm also did get buffed. Yeah, effect change, so 50% chance to raise defense by 1 for each target hit. Now it's a 50% chance to raise defense by 1, and a 50% chance to raise it by 2. That's ridiculous. That's kind of really scary to think about. So, Deontay getting, like, the most insane buff ever, but I think this is actually a good time to talk about, like, Mega Evolution in general, because when you think about it, Mega Evolution... you only get one. You only get one Mega per battle, so if you could get like a full team of Megas, that'd be kind of really stupid, and maybe then we could start going into some debates and stuff. Also, you do give up an item, so a lot of other Pokemon, we see the Garchomp, it's just better with any other item. The Mega Scizor sometimes, but also Mega Scizor is really good. So as we can see, there's a lot of Mega Pokemon that you're just better off to not Mega and then just keep your original stats with an item or something. So with Mega Deontay, now it's like, alright, the Mega is a much viable option, getting a massive buff, and then you also have to think about the power levels of some of the other Megas. Well, now that we have, like, some Kangaskhan nerfs and some tweaking for, like, other really powerful Megas and stuff, like, it's Mega Salamence, Mega Kangaskhan, Mega Blaziken, or something like this. Now, in, like, those unrestricted formats, you have the option to use Mega Deontay instead of the Mega Rayquaza, or Mega other legendary Pokemon like Mewtwo and something, because that's going to make Deontay just a lot more powerful right here. So bringing it up pretty well, more damage, big buff to that Diamond Storm side, minus 40 on defense, doesn't matter as much. I think that is going to be pretty good to go. So if you guys enjoyed the video looking at the Mega Evolution buff that we have found out about Pokemon Sun and Moon, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.